Hi everyone, we're going to be going over week 12 in this video. So if you've looked ahead, you know that week 12 is a shorter week because we have the university is closed on Friday for Veterans Day. So our main thing that we are doing this week is turning in a draft of the Reader's Guide by the end of the day on Wednesday. Okay, so this is something that you can start doing now because the workload that's due on Monday is fairly light. You're really just taking this quiz on the Reader's Guide assignment. So this quiz is meant to help you review the assignment that we have gone over and looked at before. But I want to refresh your memory about all the different components of it. And so this little quiz will help you with that. Then this checklist is meant to help you as you start putting together your Reader's Guide draft. So you may not check everything off yet, but it's a good way to keep track of what you need to do still and what you have done. So each of the components of the Reader's Guide are listed here. And this is just all information that's also in the assignment as well. But this is meant to help you as you start putting together your draft, okay? And you could ignore this section here, the bonus feature, because we have not done this yet. So this is something that we'll be getting into next week. So just ignore that and leave it blank. You can take this quiz as many times as you want. So you'll see that I post it a couple more times throughout the semester as we're working on the entire draft. Okay, so you can see for Wednesday, you're turning in a draft of the Reader's Guide. Okay, so you want to make sure that you go into your Groups Google folder and start a new Google Doc and name it, your name and Reader's Guide. Okay, then you should just be able to submit the URL to me if it's in your folder. So you're just going to submit the URL, not a shareable link. And this is something that your group members will look at next Monday and do a peer review of it next Monday. And I'm also going to be looking at these drafts and taking notes on some things that I'm noticing, and I will be posting those notes next week as well. Okay. So when you are going to do your draft of the Reader's Guide, please notice that in your Google Doc, for each section of the Reader's Guide, you're going to need to use the headers again. So you'll have to have the title, you'll have to use heading 1, etc. If you want to add extra headings, that's fine with me as well, but you need to at least have these headings here, okay? So for the editor's introduction, you have already been working on this. So what I would suggest, the most ideal way to move your editor's introduction into this draft of the Reader's Guide would be to retype it into it. So you revise as you rewrite. So if you can just have it open in another window and rewrite it into this document, that's a really effective way of revising the draft you have, the fixed up draft that you have, into a more complete draft. All right. So you want to continue working on your editor's introduction as we start putting together the Reader's Guide. So just because I'm not having you turn in a separate copy of the editor's introduction anymore doesn't mean you should not continue working on it. When you go to put together your collection of sources with the categories, you'll notice that all of this information is already in your research logs. So you should go in, and you don't need to necessarily rewrite everything here. So some things you should be able to copy and paste from your research logs. I would say the summaries, you definitely want to look over them now that you've had more experience writing those summaries. Look back, especially on the earlier ones you did, and revise those. The glossary of key terms, you've also got this in your research logs as well. So I would suggest that you go and pick what are your top key terms. You don't need to include all of the ones that you had in your research log. So pick the ones that you think are truly important. Okay. And then you you also have this about the editor section as well. So you're going to be writing about yourself like you see on the back of a book often. It's like about the author section. So think about, maybe describing yourself as a student, any connection you have to the topic or future career plans, etc. So you want to, for Wednesday, make sure that you have all components of the reader's guide drafted. So they may not be perfect, and that's fine. You need to have all sections started to get full credit for the draft. All right. So this is something that your group members will be looking at. So the more complete it can be, the better, the more helpful feedback you will end up getting next week. All right, so that's it for this week. Please let me know if you have any questions as we go. There's no studio this week. All right, have a great week, everybody.